4 of my business cards on the table there. Grab any one of those that you want. You'll find a number on the back that'll determine our order.
You want me to choose for you?
Yes, sure.
You can just let me know what number you got.
1.
3.
Mine is number
4.
4. Sorry, is that any? It was 3?
3.
So, for anybody in the room who doesn't know me, I'm the managing editor here. My name is Cale Cowan. This is my deputy editor, Phil Wolf. He's going to be our timer today. When you have about 15 seconds left, he's going to raise his hand, try to catch your eye so you know. When you run out of time, he's going to let me know, and I'm going to cut you off. So we're going to try to stick to that and get it done as quickly as we can. I'm going to ask questions. You'll be able to answer. People will be able to respond after that. If I feel that you haven't answered the question that our editorial board wants an answer to, I perhaps might ask you for clarification. But I'm the only one who's going to do that. Although there are many members of our editorial team in the room here, and they may pass me a note and ask for clarification at that point. We do have some guests with us today, but they're here to observe only, as are our online viewers. It's not 17. We're ticking along on that. So I got 2 minutes to 12. I think we'll get rolling with that. Unless there are any questions before we go, any clarification on any of those points? No? So we're good to go. All right. So, Myron, you have 2 minutes. An opening statement, please.
Thank you. Well, my name is Myron Jesperson. I'm the candidate for the Green Party for Nanaimo-Alberni. I'm a resident of Port Alberni and have been working for the last 4.5 years on homelessness issues in Port Alberni. I want to say thank you to you for including the Greens in this event. You haven't followed the cues of the national media and excluded the Greens. This election has been difficult for the Greens to get their message out because of the kind of exclusions that happened, and I really appreciate that you've included us in this. I just want to mention a couple of things that are, I think, key to the green vision in this election. The first one is the green economy. We'd like to talk about a green economy, and that is an economy that is a friend of the environment and not an enemy of the environment, an economy that builds the environment instead of degrades it. And that, in our vision, is an economy where every job that we add into the economy is a green job, where every building project that we do is a green building project and not something that we have to apologize for or mitigate the environmental impact on. In addition to our focus on the economy, an economy that goes hand in hand with the environment, we also talk in the Green Party a lot about a renewed democracy. And we're really looking for a democracy where every vote counts, rather than having to choose and think about wasting our vote, where we work in cooperation and contribute together rather than in confrontation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we'll hear from Renee Miller.
Thank you. This election is about Canadian values. The Conservatives want you to believe they didn't want this election. In fact, this election started 1 year ago when Harper launched his attack ads. Those ads are not about Canadian values. Those are American politics, and they don't belong here. Harper stood in front of Canada at the leaders' debate and took credit for the economy. I can assure you the economy is strong not because of Stephen Harper, but rather in spite of Stephen Harper. Harper voted in favor of banking deregulation. Since 2006, national unemployment has risen from 6.4 to 7.8%. And the Tories have increased the national debt that was being steadily repaid by the Liberal government. The Conservatives are the biggest spending, biggest borrowing government in Canadian history, and we can't afford them. Stephen Harper claims he will have the deficit paid by 2014. The last Conservative to pay off their deficit and properly balance a budget was John A. Macdonald in 1889. That was a Conservative budget that was balanced and paid off before the Titanic sank. When the Conservatives took office, they had a $13 billion Liberal surplus. Lester Pearson, Liberal Prime Minister with a minority government, passed 80% of its bills including CPP and universal health care. Those are Canadian values, the ability to cooperate and the ability to respect. My name is Renee Miller. I'm a defense lawyer. I work in the riding and I own property in Port Alberni. I bring to you my 9 years of university education and my successful defense practice. I've spent 4 years as a defense lawyer, and I know how wasteful billions of dollars worth of mega prisons would be in this country. That money needs to be spent on our families. Thank you.
Thank you. Zenny Martman.
Hi, I'm Zenny Martman, your new Democrat candidate in this federal election. I'm proud to say I'm a lifelong resident of this riding. I grew up in Arrington and I raised my 2 children right here in Nanaimo. I've been a school trustee, past president of Tourism Nanaimo, and currently manage one of the largest departments of insurance in BCAA. Today I'm asking you for the chance to work together and to bring real change to Ottawa. You deserve a government that has the same confidence in our communities that we do. We deserve genuine, honest change. And here's what I mean. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities has stated that the new Democrat platform is the first platform to call for long-term investments in Canada's communities. We pledge to support cities with dedicated resources to build green infrastructure, upgrade water treatment facilities, build affordable housing, and keep our communities safe. Real change means keeping family-supporting jobs right here in Canada, not shipping them overseas, and it means providing tax breaks for the small businesses that create jobs right here in our own communities. I want the kind of change that makes life more affordable for you, like capping credit card fees, removing the tax from home heating, and assistance with the costs of childcare. These are small, practical steps that will give your family a break. There's many issues to discuss: affordable childcare, affordable tuition and housing for students, for peacekeeping, peace building, peacemaking, veterans benefits, Aboriginal rights and equality for women, and of course the protection for our environment. Nanaimo-Alberni deserves an MP who puts us first, who listens to local families and businesses and delivers on their promises of community infrastructure. As your MP, I can promise I will work hard with all of you to build an even better future that is happy, healthy, and sustainable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James Lenny.
It's been a privilege to serve Nanaimo-Alberni, 2 terms on the opposition side and now 2 terms on the government side of the House of Commons. Conservatives formed government in 2006 and we delivered on a promise to lower taxes for all Canadians. We lowered the GST from 7 to 6 to 5%. That's $960 saving for the average Canadian family. Families altogether, the average Canadian family, $3,100 less in federal taxes currently. Seniors, a $2.3 billion tax break through a series of targeted measures. It took 85,000 seniors off the tax rolls. There's a GIS bump up in budget 2011 to help 685,000 of our lowest income seniors. We lowered the national debt by $39 billion before the economic tsunami hit. In 2008, Nanaimo-Alberni chose a Conservative MP. Canadians chose a Conservative minority government. And again, we acted quickly with an economic action plan. Job sharing, extended EI, targeted measures for older workers. An economic stimulus package that delivered $100 million to central Vancouver Island. Our plan worked. 480,000 jobs created, 6 consecutive quarters of economic growth. We're leading the Western world in economic recovery. Conservatives have a plan to wind down stimulus and to balance the budget. For Nanaimo-Alberni, there's only one candidate who knows the job, knows the issues, and has staff in place. When local action was needed, clean up Nanoose Bay, staffed lighthouses, we got it done. Your MP knows wellness promotion and disease prevention, issues that will have to inform the healthcare debate of tomorrow. There are still issues to resolve: rail on Vancouver Island, fisheries management, salmon enhancement, emergency preparedness. Western Canadians have seen the results of governments in the past that catered to the interests of one province. Conservatives have a vision for all of Canada. I'm asking voters to choose stability and a low-tax plan for Canada, and for Nanaimo-Alberni, choose an MP with a record of service and office staff that are second to none.
Thank you. For the next segment, we're going to go and ask questions. We have 8 questions, so each of you will be asked one question directly. The other 3 will be given an opportunity to respond. We'll follow the same order that we drew for at the top. So the first question goes to Myron Jesperson. What should be done to move talks forward between the Nanaimo First Nation and senior levels of government who have been in negotiations for a final treaty for years, but with no substantial talks since 2003?
Well, I've talked about this already in other venues, but it seems to me the first thing that we need to do is make a commitment to settling these treaties as quickly as we can. And whatever that requires, I think what's happening right now is that the federal government is not taking this seriously and is not coming to the table or if they are coming to the table, they're not coming to the table with serious offers to settle the treaties. I would really like us to commit to settling the outstanding treaties and the outstanding land settlement claims so that as we move to our 150th birthday, we can celebrate this together with our First Nations neighbors, and we'll really have something to celebrate on our 150th anniversary instead of being embarrassed by the way that we have treated our First Nations.
You got a bit of an early warning there. Did you have
Yes,
anything more to say? You have 2, the first person will have 2 minutes to answer, and then it's a 1-minute response from the other 3 on any given question. So Phil flagged you a little early there. So if you had more to add, please do.
Well, and I think a very specific example of what's happening, let's say, with the DL33, the forest that's been offered to the Nanoose First Nations as a sort of a pre-settlement. And to me, this kind of thing really puts the First Nations in a bind, particularly with those who want to preserve the coastal Douglas fir. And it seems that it's disrespectful on the part of the government to offer something like that to them, knowing that it's a controversial situation and putting them into a bind. Do they develop their economy and put themselves at odds with those who want to preserve the environment? I think that's definitely not the way that we should be moving ahead with these treaties.
Thank you. Renee Miller, we'll hear from you. 1 minute on this topic, please.
Thank you. Self-government and self-governance is important to our First Nations, and the Liberal Party supports those initiatives. And it's important to remember that the Kelowna Accord was pioneered by Paul Martin, and it's an accord that Stephen Harper walked away from. In addition to supporting self-governance, the Liberals are willing to make sure that funding is available for post-secondary education, that affordable housing is provided and available to our First Nations living off reserve, and making sure that early child care and early child learning are also strengthened so that we can come together to reform a lot of those issues that unfortunately impact our First Nations communities.
Just before we move on, apparently we're getting a little interference with cell phones. If we have cell phones in the room, can you just take a quick minute and switch them off or something to wireless, or leave them with your assistant over by the door maybe? Zenny,
Okay.
please, 1 minute on this.
Okay.
Do you need the question again? You're good?
No, I'm good. Yes, we must get to the table and we must start to negotiate these settlements once and for all. There has been no push from Ottawa. For too long, First Nations have been forgotten, and there hasn't been the support there to work with the First Nations communities. We do want to see First Nations be successful, and we need to foster an economic opportunity that will give them lasting prosperity.